Congressman Brian Mast from House Foreign Affairs. Congressman, it's great to see you again. You know, the hearing on Biden's botched exit from Afghanistan. Congressman, first off, can you explain to the viewer how you served in Afghanistan and how you are a wounded warrior too? Can you tell the viewer what happened to you?
I served as a bomb technician in Afghanistan. I was injured in 2010 when an explosive device detonated beneath my feet. I ended up losing 2 legs and a finger, but thank God no friends that day, although I lost many friends many days before that.
So, Congressman, when you saw these active duty troops give heart-wrenching testimony, like Sergeant Tyler Vargas Andrews, U.S. Marine Corps soldier, he served in Afghanistan. He was saying Afghanis felt abandoned by this White House. This White House abandoned Americans behind terror lines. He testified that they actually saw Afghanis try to commit suicide right in front of them, live, in front of them, rather than endure more suffering under the Taliban. What was your reaction to that?
I think you used the exact right word to describe my reaction and everybody else's. It wasn't the Afghanistan withdrawal, it was the Afghanistan abandonment. And it left so many service members, Gold Star families, people that just had friends that served just broken inside, questioning what did their service mean? Was it worth my time away from birthdays and bath time and sports and dinner with my kids? Those were the questions that you were left asking yourself. And for Sergeant Vargas Andrews, after he was blown up, lost 2 limbs, and we didn't get to this, but he believes that he saw the bomber through the scope of his sniper rifle. The U.S. government, not one entity in the U.S. government, asked him about if he could have eliminated that Abbey Gate bomber, what he saw for 10 days sitting in a watchtower. No entity of the U.S. government cared at all about what he saw and what he thought.
So, given what you just said, let's watch Sergeant Vargas Andrews testify about all that. Listen to this.
Over the communication network, we passed that there was a potential threat and an IED attack imminent. This was as serious as it could get. I requested engagement authority while my team leader was ready on the M110 semi-automatic sniper system. The response, leadership did not have the engagement authority for us. Do not engage. To this day, we believe he was a suicide bomber. We made everyone on the ground aware. Operations had briefly halted, but then started again. Plain and simple, we were ignored. Our expertise was disregarded. No one was held accountable for our safety.
My body was overwhelmed from the trauma of the blast. My abdomen had been ripped open. Every inch of my exposed body, except for my face, took ball bearings and shrapnel. The withdrawal was a catastrophe, in my opinion. And there was an inexcusable lack of accountability and negligence.
That's it. Negligence. Does this White House care that soldiers were killed, 13 troops injured? We've got, wounded more than 160 Afghans, wounded soldiers like this soldier. I mean, the Pentagon relied on the Taliban to help secure the airport. Really, that's your battle plan? They only had 36 people in the American consulate to vet and screen people wanting to leave. Really, that's your plan, White House?
They cared only at the time so far as they could try to avoid a bad news cycle. President Biden didn't care enough when our service members were coming home to avoid even looking at his watch as those service members were taking that final flight back to the United States of America, those that were killed. And they absolutely do not care today to learn any lessons from what happened and to go back there and seek accountability from anybody that was to blame for that debacle, that black eye, that killing of 13 U.S. service members. And any part about it. That's the length of what they care about. I'm going to get it again. We never talk about this in my family. I'm going to reveal something. My mother never knew her father. He was hit and suffered from mustard gas complications and died when she was 1 year old. So we knew what it was to suffer that loss. Sometimes my mother, my grandmother, my aunt would look into the middle distance and they were gone. You couldn't reach them. We have firemen in our family. We have a brother, my sister's brother-in-law, died at 9/11. We know what it means to suffer loss. And so when we see this White House behaving like this, when we see taxpayers basically paying for the Taliban's entire Defense Department and military air force, more than $7 billion in U.S. taxpayer-funded weapons munition left behind, we have to ask again and again, does this White House care? This White House again and again shows they have no national security objectives. They do not care. They did not care then. They do not care to remove people out of positions of power that have no place being in positions of power. and this is to the detriment of every single American. And as we saw in Afghanistan, it literally costs the lives of our nation's heroes.
Congressman Mast, we'll have you back on. Thanks for joining us tonight.
All the best.
It's good to see you again.